First of all, I want to say hello and welcome to this beautiful fall, sunny afternoon. My name is Debbie and I work for the Cook County Farm Bureau, and we want to welcome and thank you for joining us for this special Farm Bureau pop-up Zoom event. Graciously, Pat Horker, owner of Horker Flowers and Greenhouse, is Country Flowering Greenhouses. I always get that wrong all the time. But is graciously agreed to help us bring in that fall fever kind of feeling. This week being Halloween, he's going to give us our basic tips on how to carve a jack-o'-lantern, also how to pick out the best type of jack-o'-lantern pumpkin.
Good pumpkins for carving.
Good pumpkins for carving. Just some really fun facts about pumpkins. Illinois farmers grow more pumpkins than anywhere else in the world. I think a lot of people know that, but I am still surprised at how many don't. And 90 to 95% of all pumpkins are used for processing right here in beautiful Morton Grove, Illinois. But today we're going to look at how to carve a great pumpkin or jack-o'-lantern, and I am just going to turn this program over to Pat Horker. Thank you so much for being here today.
No problem. My pleasure. Thank you. Am I live? Am I loud?
You are live.
Oh, fine. Okay. So, first of all, we're not scaring away. We're not scaring away evil spirits. So there's no way that in particular that the pumpkin needs to look. Are we good with the camera? Or are we concerned about something?
You know what? Can I just ask? I'm noticing the sun coming around the corner. Can you see us screen okay?
Yes, totally fine.
Okay. So first of all, the thing to remember is this is all about fun. This is not about something you have to do. This is something that you're doing for fun and relaxation. And if you're getting upset about it, you should stop and walk away for a minute, because it is all about fun. So with that in mind, when you go to pick out a pumpkin for your jack-o'-lantern, we're just going to do basic jack-o'-lantern. We're not going to do that, doctoral arts thesis, 3D sculpting stuff. This is just a basic jack-o'-lantern. So there's a few things you're going to want to know. There are some pumpkins that are easier to carve than others. There are some that are easier to cut. Pie pumpkins, for instance, are genetically designed for pie. They are not designed for carving. Okay? So as a result, you tend to have thicker walls, a thicker hull, bigger seeds. Good for eating, good for processing and making homemade pumpkin pie. Bad for carving, because you have a thicker hull, okay? And this pumpkin, as long as this outside hull is not scratched or broken, this is basically nature's little Tupperware. It's an airtight container, and these can last until February or March. If you put this in your house, cool dark space, like a basement, you put a board under it, it's a winter's house. It will last. None of those things make it good for carving, okay? Good for eating, not so great for carving. And we'll get to why in just a minute. This is the standard type of the pumpkin. It's a nice dark orange. It's got these deep ribs. Cool looking. It's like the perfect jack-o'-lantern shape. The same with this large one here. Dark orange, good thick stem, easy to pick up. Don't pick them up by the stems. The stems break off. But again, these dark pumpkins, you'll notice this, maybe you can see, this has deeper ridges than this. The deeper ridge tends to indicate a thicker, crisper outside hull. And again, what that means is harder to cut, especially if you're going to try to cut a round eye, circle or something. Very difficult to cut when the hull cracks. And the darker orange, we're outside, it's real. The darker orange also tends to indicate a thicker hull, and again, sort of harder to cut. The knife is going to stick. So if dark orange and thicker ribs mean harder to cut, yes, that's right. You can make that jump and go to lighter color orange, smoother hull, generally easier to cut. This is a kind of a pumpkin that's a breeze to cut. If you wind up with a pumpkin that's a little darker orange, because they do look perfect, try to make your face straighter lines. That's the little triangle sort of eyes, simple mouth, which is the teeth. Okay, they're absolutely doable. They're a great color, but if you're just looking for something easy for like younger kids, beginners, lighter colors, smoother pumpkin, much easier to work with. Now, lately we've also gotten a lot of these newer varieties. This is a gourd. The easiest way to describe it is this is a gourd. This is very, very difficult to cut into, and I'm not even going to try and demonstrate it because I don't want to cut my fingers. They're great to look at. They're good for painting. If you're more advanced and you want to try and do something with it, go ahead, knock yourself out. I'm not interested. There's one other thing. There's the green ones. These are awesome. Unripe green pumpkins, very easy to carve. The knife goes in smoothly. The outer hull hasn't carved up yet. They're really a joy to carve. And if we have time, I'll carve a little bit on one of these, and I'll show you some fun things about them. The other things people notice sometimes is this one's all scarred. Something scratched this while it was growing. It healed over. It's a scar. That's all it is. Occasionally, what we'll do on the farm here is we'll take advantage of this sort of characteristic of the pumpkins. This scar will stay as it gets older and ripens. You'll see there's a very fine scar here. So if you're growing pumpkins and they're green, haven't ripened yet, and it's August, if you go out there into your pumpkin patch and you take an X-Acto knife and you put it in about that far, and you say, sketch a little face onto that pumpkin, it will scar over. And it'll be dark brown like this. Okay, dark brown like this, where you scratched it. And you won't even have to carve it.
Oh,
That face will stay there while this thing ripens and while it's all sealed up, and that pumpkin will last a long time. Now, it's not limited to faces. You can put your initials in there. You can put "Will you marry me" in there. You can write whatever you want or scratch whatever you want in there, and that scar will stay. It's kind of a cool little thing that you can do with your pumpkins. You can do it with your kids. You can show them this when they're young. It's fun. It's all about fun anyhow, isn't it? So,
How are you guys doing over there? Okay.
Yeah,
Huh?
this is actually very helpful. Like,
Wonderful.
we're buying the wrong pumpkins, and that's no wonder they're so hard to carve.
Okay, good. We're going to keep going. I just wanted to check the volume and the picture clarity. Still okay?
Yeah, everything's fine. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful.
okay, so a couple of things. Every now and then you'll get a pumpkin, you'll get it home, and it won't stand. Oh my God, what are you going to do? It's not the end of the world. Remember, we're having fun. So you're going to carve it, right? It's going to be opened up anyhow, right? So if the pumpkin doesn't stand, or if it's wobbly, let the bottom square. It's pretty basic, but it's amazing how few people will actually think of it. And there are still some people who would be like averse to the idea. Well, that's not right. Oh, I'm sorry. I got my rules of pumpkin building. Now it stands. So you want a nice knife for pumpkin carving. This is an old Chicago cutlery fillet knife. It doesn't have to be an old Chicago cutlery fillet knife. The reason I choose a knife like this is because, first of all, it's not very tall. Okay? If you have a narrower blade, shorter blade like this, you can make tighter circular cuts for eyes. Okay? It's not very thick. Okay? It slides in easier. It's easier to get in and out of even a sticky pumpkin. Okay? And it tends to be pretty sharp. You're not going to want to let kids use a fillet knife. A little steak knife works well too. This is one that I have used and ground most of the blade away with. And I've also smoothed it off a little bit on the bottom, but for the same reasons. It's a very narrow blade. It's a very short blade, and it's smooth. It goes in very easily. Okay, so you start by cutting off a bit, right? There's like How do you cut the lid off and then you have to figure out where it goes back on? Well, solve that problem at the beginning, not at the end. I don't want to worry about it when you're done. So what I'll do, I'll start in one spot, work your way around. Now, initially I went in here. For that. First of all, it's hard to hit it head on. You're going to miss it anyhow. Just accept it. Make it part of what's going on. I go in below it, right there. Then this goes down to it. Automatically got a keyway. Makes it easy to put back on where we want. Right? Don't make problems. This is good for fun. Oh. That off. Now, some of you might have noticed when I cut, I'm going to use a sawing motion. Remember how I said the thicker ones tend to be stickier? You put the knife in and you force it, it jumps, and there's no control. But if you use a sawing motion, like those electronic turkey slicing knives, you'll notice they go back and forth. Well, what it's doing is it's breaking the friction, because these are sticky. After you carve the pumpkins and you try to wash the stuff off of your hand, it sticks to your hands. So you have to deal with the friction. You're going to do a sawing motion. And what I'll do is I'll release the seeds from the top here. Now this is just a little scoop I made. So we're going to pull the seeds out. And these are all, generally speaking, a regular pumpkin seed are not that thick. These are the ones that you're gonna save them if you want. You're gonna clean them up. You're gonna salt them a little bit, put a little olive oil on them maybe, or butter. It's not all healthy.
Butter makes everything better.
Butter's better. It's not all healthy like that olive oil stuff. You're gonna roast them. You can save these if you want to. They're all good to eat. Okay. I'll clean that out. That's really the hardest part, right? I don't know what kind of a face to make. I need those design books. Really? So there's no way the face is supposed to be. There's nothing wrong with doing the standard triangle eyes. Okay? A sawing motion. Cut away from your hand. Don't cut towards your hand. The emergency room has real emergencies they need to deal with. They don't need to be sewing your finger back on. Right? She's chuckling. Somebody out there did this. I'm not going to find that entertaining. It's true. Okay, simple, regular little eye. Okay? There's nothing wrong. He said not to cut towards his hand. He's got his hand inside the pumpkin. I broke it. Broke the eye. I need to fix it. All right. Look at that. Regular little mouth. Sawing motion.
Now, some people feel like you have to use a Sharpie on the outside.
Go ahead. Isn't it hard to follow that line when you're cutting like this? It is. I've done it. I've tried it. It's awful.
And then you're stuck with a Sharpie mark.
Right. You can take alcohol and wipe the Sharpie off though. It works. I have tried it. It's very disconcerting. But we'll get to that. All right. Face to face, we already screwed it up. Not the end of the world. So now let's try and make it different. So I got a nice little eye here. I'm missing my eye here, but I have room. Let's make it a little bigger. Let's go. Remember I said a narrower knife can make curves? Okay. Here's a little rounded top. I went a little farther down on the side. Let's take this. Oh, they don't match. Oh my God, it's the world of pumpkins. I just don't match. There's no pumpkin police. I just don't match. Sawing motion. So the outside goes down farther here, so I want the outside to go down farther here. I'm going to knock that off because it's missing on this side. See how this eye, I don't see that, we've got the eye to the side here. They can cross that. It's reality TV. Now we're going to make it a little more definition. This is a trick. This is worth the whole cost of admission right here. If you go in with just the tip of the knife, use a nice small one. Now we're going to finish this line down to meet this line across. I'm going to do it from this angle so it's backwards and I can't see what I'm doing.
Oh, cool.
So you do have the depth of the pumpkin that is in your favor. What I mean by that is the thickness. You have these thick walls. You have a different color inside. Okay? So that is something that a lot of people forget about. Put in through that outside shell. We'll cut across. So we have to cut through the outside shell here. And then we'll cut across. We're going to open it up that inside, right? Now all of a sudden we messed up the eyes. But did we? Is it terrible? I think the picture's still good. Are we still good on that picture? So what about the mouth? We got one tooth over here. It's a little small. It's a little lopsided. So let's embrace the lopsided, shall we?
Paul, can you still see okay out there?
Yep, we can see just fine.
Okay.
Okay. So mouth is lopsided. It's off to one side. So what if he's just talking out of the side of his mouth? We'll give it a curve. Give it a little curl. Now we've got space up above. Eyebrows cut towards himself again.
You're on a time frame. It's okay. I'm not kidding. That came out so easily.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And not too orange of a cookie. Very cool.
So it doesn't have to be any way in particular. It doesn't have to turn out perfect. There is no perfect. It's a jack-o'-lantern. It's all about fun. Okay. You got the little keyway on the top here. So it's easy to figure out where it goes. Right? Slides back on. Stands upright. You throw a candle in there. Nowadays we got those LEDs, the solar ones, so the thing's not going to melt. You put a candle in there and it's heating. Do we have time to do a quick one?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So preserving them. The colder it gets, the longer the thing's going to last. You're going to carve the pumpkin and you have one of those wonderful cold Halloween snow. It's like 40 degrees and raining all the way through the week, and kids can't go trick or treating anyhow. That pumpkin's going to last until the squirrels eat it. have figured out over time is if you mix up some Dawn's good for everything, right?
Right.
You mix up some Dawn and water to a point where you can still see the blue, and still it goes through a spritzer bottle. If you coat all the cut edges with a little bit of that Dawn mix, and then whatever's left is used to do your dishes. Remember when you just do it by hand. If you just coat all of the cut edges with that Dawn, it creates kind of an oily film that will preserve the pumpkin a little longer. Or you can go and spend whatever it costs to get the magic potions from Walgreens, and I'm sure whoever makes those will pay your money. Too sarcastic?
No, you're great.
Okay. So I want to do this dark one, and we're going to do something quick. So I used to do a lot of these.
Will you do custom pumpkins if someone requests for you?
So there was a point in time when we had carved pumpkins all along the front here and up on the roof. And I would do pumpkins for people. I will still do them. I'm less inclined to do them for you if you come and say there's a pumpkin carving contest and I need one carved.
Oh.
I do occasionally have people who say that, and not bad, eh?
No.
So I don't really like helping people cheat, but I do have mortgages to pay. So it's one of those moral dilemmas. It's not the end of the world. So this guy's kind of squatting. Something simple. This is a nice soft pumpkin. Remember, it's green, so I don't have to worry about making circular cuts. I left the scar off on the side here because I didn't want to deal with cutting around it, but you can always work yourself around scars like that. I mean, it is Halloween. It's supposed to be spooky, right?
Right.
You try to make these circles the right size. Same size, not the right size necessarily. Has simple eyes. Now with the dark, that light shows up pretty well. Well, I can't see the camera, but typically it shows up pretty well.
Oh, perfect.
So then, kind of night moon kind of eyes. Square this up a little bit. Even up a little bit. Okay, maybe this guy should go like that, right? So that's just another big circle, right? Three circles with a little crescent. Nice simple face. If you want to make it fancy, if you want to put a little detail in, okay? A wider mouth. Okay. Even wider mouth now. It looks like it's like more of a scared, like kind of. So sort of looking up. Want to make it really look like he's looking up, or she's looking up. Sorry, either way. So yes, by the way, my hand is here. The knife is going that way. Don't do that. Again, emergency room, they have better things to do. Side motion, arrow blade, nice soft pumpkin. the same face,
Wow.
right?
That's awesome. Very cool.
Remember, have fun with it. It doesn't have to be anything. It doesn't have to turn out.
That's it.
Yeah, so the basics. Shorter knife, narrow knife. This one works fine. Sawing motion gets you through it, breaks that friction so it doesn't stick. Lighter orange, not so dark orange. You can carve a thick pumpkin. You can carve one of these, but you're going to go with the straighter angles, so many curves, and then the more you do of it, the more you'll realize what you can and can't do, and you'll get a feel for it. It's like anything else. And if you really get into pumpkin carving, you can absolutely get into those three-dimensional things, but do some jack-o'-lanterns first. Start easy and make sure it stays fun, and stop by us and then pick out a pumpkin.
Yes.
Because, like I mentioned, I have no idea.
Right.
So,
And you grow your own pumpkins.
we do. Everything we sell here, we grow. We have well, in the summer, we have a complete selection of vegetables. It is nearing the end of October, so the selection is not what it used to be, but there's a pile of squash. We have a lot of pumpkins. We have flowers, and am I forgetting something?
Firewood.
Oh.
That's
Oh, sorry. So we do have firewood that we sell. Dia de la Muerte is coming up. Day of the Dead is coming up. I actually have some marigold stuff for that. Or if you like, you can also use it for Diwali, which is also a marigold holiday. And that's the basics. That's what I got for you.
Give us your address again.
The address, thank you, is 910 McHenry Road in Wheeling, Illinois. That's 910 McHenry Road, Wheeling, Illinois. If you just Google search Horker's Country Flowers, they will get you almost to our door, depending on how Google Maps feels about it.
All right. Do we have any questions for Pat out there in the audience land?
No, not from us. This is really helpful. We've been buying the wrong pumpkins, and
You make it look so easy
I
now.
know, you make it look really easy. But no, this was very helpful, and we're always looking for locally grown vegetables and things like that, and we always decorate for Halloween and Thanksgiving and whatnot, and we're in Park Ridge, so you all are really close to us, so this is great. We didn't know you knew nothing about you, so it's awesome.
Yes. Yep, you're not far at all. And he is
Nope.
a member business. Pat, I'm going to come back here.
I keep my hearings. I'm a middle-aged older farmer. I keep my hearing.
But Pat is also part of our volunteer team. He is a board member for the Cook County Farm Bureau and a strong supporter of ours, and we couldn't be more thrilled. We're grateful. We thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
This is wonderful.
Sorry, you're going to have to watch that.
It's okay. So we will go ahead and send this recording to those who registered, and we're also going to put it up on Facebook later today. But again, from the Cook County Farm Bureau, we are so grateful to this pop-up jack-o'-lantern pumpkin carving basics with Pat Horker, owner of Horker's Country Flower and Greenhouse. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for
My pleasure.
spending your afternoon with us. Have a great
Thank
day.
you.
Thank you.